friends, I'm Sharam Madazadigan, author of Angels Never Die, The Devil's Mask, and Crossing the Bridge of Dreams. Today, I want to share the third story from Angels Never Die with you. This book contains 40 short, true stories across 492 pages. If you're ever in Rasht, you can find it at Mojdehi bookstore near ShortStory Square for 300,000 tomans. So let's dive into today's story, titled, A Shadow of Peace. The sun, like a gentle mother worn out from a long day's work, was slowly folding up her blanket of warmth from the city and heading toward her usual resting place. From his bedroom window, the boy watched her final efforts to stay a little longer. Something in his heart ached for all her comings and goings. He stared at her and wondered, how can something so kind show up every day for years, with such devotion, never asking for thanks, and then quietly leave, again and again? And what's even more amazing is that she's done this forever, without change, without complaint. As he kept watching, he felt something strange, like he could hear her voice. So, from deep inside, a force rose up and asked aloud, what keeps you going? What joy do you find in all this coming and going? How have you endured the pain of arrival and the sorrow of departure for so long? The sun, in her final moments, whispered with a kind of cosmic compassion, if it's as you say, then what was the soul of humanity trying to prove through all this coming and going? The boy had no answer. The sun smiled gently and said, it's not that complicated. The idea of coming and going doesn't really mean anything. We've always been here. We always will be. You're confused because you're forced to measure things with the tools you know, and you don't have any other choice. Then, with one last joyful burst from behind the mountain, the sun cried out, the whole universe is built on love. Everything is connected by threads of kindness. Wherever love disappears, those threads snap, and the whole structure falls apart. The boy felt overwhelmed. His mind couldn't hold all these strange thoughts. The hum of air conditioners on the street pulled him back to reality. He felt lighter somehow. Like walking through the night air was healing him. People rushed through the city like they'd lost something. Everyone was heading somewhere fast. The sky had turned completely dark. From far off, the cries of jackals echoed through the forest. Suddenly, the boy found himself on a mountain overlooking the city, standing beside a massive rock. He felt deeply alone. He sighed, and then he felt it. A presence. Without warning, it asked, you okay, friend? Then added, after all this time, you remembered me, and sighed. The boy, heart heavy, replied, my sigh came from forgetting you. I wish I could feel you beside me again, hold you close, and drown in the best feelings imaginable. That way, my white clothes wouldn't get so dusty and stained. The presence, let's call it the sigh, stood silently, watching him. The boy was overflowing with a strange, beautiful feeling. Tears streamed down his face. He wanted to embrace the sigh, but couldn't. And that longing drove him to the edge of madness. Most of what he wanted to say couldn't be put into words. But all those unsaid things poured from his eyes, flowing toward the sigh, who understood everything. The sigh smiled, took his hand, and suddenly they were walking together among the people of the city. The boy asked, what is this thing everyone's chasing? What are they so restless for? The sigh laughed and said, they don't really have a choice. Then, seeing the boy's confusion, added, to stop means to think about the nature and reason behind everything. They stay restless just to avoid thinking. Imagine people coming and going in different bodies, but with the same thoughts and goals, it makes everything feel absurd. After a pause, the sigh looked into the boy's eyes and said, everything stays the same. Goals, actions, thoughts, they don't change. Only the shapes of people, buildings, and animals shift. Goodness, as we've defined it from the beginning, keeps showing up. And evil keeps being born and dying. But in all this, there are souls with higher, different goals. They keep their white garments clean. And that's what gives meaning to all this coming and going. Each era filters a huge group of souls. Only a few manage to keep their white clothes shining. The boy was lost in thought when the cry of a baby snapped him back. They were inside a luxurious house. He asked the Psy, "What are we doing here?" The Psy smiled, "I want to show you this baby's life." The baby grew quickly. They watched him become a child. The Psy said, "Look at him, beautiful name, rich family, healthy body, sharp mind." Which of these did he choose? Then smiled and answered, "None of them." Seeing the boy's astonishment, the Psy continued, "There are 3 things you've lost. First, patience. Every soul is tested in different conditions. Only through those tests can we truly understand someone. Second, love. It's fading between you and other souls. Now, everyone born just thinks about themselves. They forget why they came into this world. Third eye, pure, elevated thoughts. Paint your thoughts. Imagine your dreams. Everything unfolds according to your beautiful ideas. And remember, you can find anyone you've lost among others. Love them. That's how you'll find peace." The boy felt better. The Psy knew it. Looking deep into his eyes, the Psy said with indescribable warmth, "I've met you many times before. I've reminded you of all this." Then pointed and said, "Look to your right." The boy saw a funeral, people burying a body. Then the Psy pointed elsewhere, "Now look there." A baby was being born. The Psy said, "See how simple it is? You leave. You return. Just remember, keep things simple. Don't make everything in your mind so tangled and unsolvable. Solve problems just for the sake of variety. Everything can be solved if your mind is calm." And with that, the Psy vanished. The boy wished he could have stayed a little longer. He wished that peace could last forever.